Hello everybody, my name is Ratnos, and today I'm going to make a little bit of a follow-up video to a video I did last week on item level rewards from Mythic Plus and from Raid. That video is still accurate, and is something I recommend you go check out if you're interested in what I have to say about that, and if you want to know in general what item levels you can get from all the different sorts of PvE content. But Blizzard has put out a new blue post that has a couple of clarifications, and one particularly big piece of news. So the big piece of news here is that bonus rolls are gone, as well as all the other changes they've made. The justification here is that let loot be loot is kind of the philosophy that they're going with in Shadowlands. They're taking away Warforging and Titan Forging, which were these factors that meant that effectively, whenever you dropped an item, once you had some baseline gear, it actually was unlikely to be a very valuable moment for you at all. It had a chance, right? But every time you dropped a piece of gear, the odds that it was an upgrade was actually based on, the small fraction of a chance that it would be a Warforge or a Titan Forge. They're taking away that Warforging or Titan Forging, which means that just the base drop items themselves are going to be either upgrades for you, or you're going to already have your best in slot if it's the right item, right? So there's, in many cases, there will be just no good outcome that you could get there. So in order to stop us from very quickly getting to a full gear situation, they need to pull back and make sure that we're not dropping anywhere near as many items as we are in BFA, because so many fewer of them are going to be garbage items in Shadowlands than they are in BFA is the idea. So because of that, they're cutting back on the loot from Mythic Plus down to 1 item per dungeon at a baseline level. I think you still get more above level 15, but for most people, it's just going to be 1 item at the end of the dungeon. And they are cutting away this bonus roll that we've kind of used now for several expansions. Bonus rolls did a couple of things well. One thing that I liked about bonus rolls was that they gave you the ability to target specific items and roll for them a lot. So whenever Blizzard introduced these items like Raw Den Weapon or N'Zoth Trinket or whatever that were especially impactful for you and were worth way more than, say, an average piece of gear to your character, right? You'd rather have 1 upgrade from that boss than 3 upgrades from other sources. You didn't care about getting some random belts or bracers from other bosses. You just really needed that Raw Den Weapon, for instance. The bonus roll was a powerful valve that the system had built in to let us avoid, just being purely at the mercy of RNG every week on that one boss. We got a little bit of extra chance to get that item, and a lot of bonus rolls this tier were used on Raw Den, and a lot of Raw Den weapons were given from bonus rolls, right? So that was something that bonus rolls did well, is it allowed them to create very unbalanced loot, and we still got extra chances at those best pieces. That valve is gone, but there are some benefits to removing bonus rolls too. First and foremost, bonus rolls are kind of annoying and stupid. It was annoying every week to have to remember to go and get your bonus rolls, and it was very annoying to kill a boss and then not see your bonus roll window pop up, and you're just like, I forgot to get bonus rolls. And it was triple annoying to have, you're about to pull the boss and somebody in your raid's like, wait, don't pull the boss, summon me, I need to go get bonus rolls, and you're just like, man, this is the worst. So those annoyance reasons, I think, are definitely nice ones to be rid of. And I think it's also reasonable, in this world without Warforging and Titan Forging, I think taking away bonus rolls can be a reasonable thing to do. I think that that system was kind of clunky. I hope that they do come up with a way to replace that targeting of gear. The Great Vault, I think, is an opportunity for them to do that, but and something they talked about. They talked about in the BlizzCon for Shadowlands how the Great Vault could potentially allow you to, get extra chances at loot on bosses that you did bonus roll. They talked about that being a factor that the Great Vault could look at. The Great Vault, they also talked about it rewarding a currency that you could use to buy gear. Currently, neither of those features are in the game with the Great Vault. So the Great Vault does reward a currency if you don't want any of the items, but it's purely for upgrading your Covenant Sanctum, which, to my knowledge, doesn't really have any power built behind it. There's no way to turn that into gear. So really, I think the Great Vault has been kind of pared down to a very basic level, and I would love to see some elegant way of letting the Great Vault target items, give you a higher chance at the items that you really want in the way that bonus rolls did. Because again, there are going to be some items, it's almost impossible to avoid it, where there are going to be some items that are disproportionately impactful on your character's power level, and the player who gets lucky with those versus the player who doesn't, there's going to be a large disparity in output from those two players, and that is the kind of thing that I think it's better if that's smoothed by a system that, you know, lets the less fortunate player still be behind, but eventually catch up by, you know, a system that lets them target that gear. So that was the one thing that bonus rolls did somewhat well. Even bonus rolls, though, for people who are ardent defenders of them, never actually guaranteed anything, right? For every person who bonus rolled a Raw Den weapon, there are like 10 people who bonus rolled Void Twisted Titan Shards or whatever Azurites on that boss, or AP, right, on that boss. So bonus rolls were a system that helped you, you know, target items, but there was still a huge amount of randomness associated with them, and they were not in any stretch a guarantee of eventually getting the item you needed. So I think that replacing them with that sort of system would be the ideal. I would love to see the Great Vault either have a way of letting you influence the squares. Maybe you'd go to the Great Vault the week before opening it, and you could, like, whenever you killed a boss, you could, like, target a square and say, you know, give this square a higher chance or even a guarantee of holding an item from this boss. If you did a certain dungeon, you could maybe go to the Great Vault and be like, give this square in the Great Vault an item from this dungeon. Those sorts of effects, I think, would be a really good way to give the Great Vault that targeting thing that bonus rolls did and did really well. But I don't think that I don't think we need bonus rolls specifically. Now, one other impact on this that's really not going to be felt by very many players is split runs or split raids. So in Race to World First settings, guilds would use bonus rolls specifically to then be able to trade gear from future bosses. And in some places, this got pretty degenerate. So for instance, in Heroic Weeks, what you could do is you could kill, you know, a certain boss. So say there's like the 5th boss and the 2nd boss in the raid both drop cloth boots, and the 5th boss's ones are badly itemized for, you know, your warlocks, and the 2nd boss's ones are BIS stats for your warlocks. What you would do is you would get a heroic raid, you'd clear the first 4 bosses with it, then you'd get to that 5th boss, you'd have a character save that lockout, and you would just do that boss with cloth alts 7 times. The players would bonus roll it over and over again until they got the cloth boots on that alt. And then you would go back with those characters that weren't saved to the 2nd boss because you cleared the 2nd boss with some other characters. And you'd go back to that boss and you'd bring in the Warlock mains as well. And you would just have 17 characters or whatever that could trade heroic item level cloth boots because they bonus rolled a different boss that could drop them over and over again. And then they would trade the cloth boots, whichever ones did drop, on that 2nd boss. And you could effectively guarantee, or not guarantee, but make it extremely likely that you'd get certain items on certain characters. That benefit of split rating goes away with bonus rolls going away. But every time they nerf split raids, people always talk about, okay, you know, finally split raids are going to be gone. That's not going to happen here. There's no way that the guilds will stop doing split raids because there's still benefit to doing it, right? No matter how you do this, even if you go from having, you know, 8 shots at loot to be able to trade an item down to 1, that's still better than 0, right? It's still better than not doing a split raid at all. So with these guilds that have the question of how do we best spend all of this time until the mythic raid opens, there needs to be a better answer than split raids. You can't just keep nerfing split raids if you want to try and incentivize top guilds to not do them. Top guilds are going to continue to do them until there is a better alternative, or until split raids provide actually 0 value, which there's basically no way of doing that without making it awful for everybody else, without having some kind of horrific system where you had to like lock in which characters you were going to raid with for the next, like, for the first month of the tier, and then you could only get loot while you were in a group with exactly those 20 players or whatever. So those sorts of systems that people suggest to get rid of split rating, it's never going to happen. It's never going to be an outcome of a system of something like removing bonus rolls. What it is going to do, however, which is a good change in my opinion, is it's going to reduce the power level of the split raid groups by a little bit, right? Instead of being 50% more powerful than a non-split rating raid, they might be 20% more powerful. That's still better than 0%, so the guilds are still going to do it, but it means that the boss tuning can be a little bit better for the rest of us, right? Because the rest of us who don't split raid and who go into Mythic on week 1 aren't going to bash into these bosses that have been tuned around split rating and have it be impossible for us to kill to quite the same level, right? Every time they can nerf the power level of a split rating a little bit, that helps out all of the non-split rating, but still competitive Mythic progression guilds actually have a shot at killing these bosses pre-nerf, you know, the kind of the Fetid Devourers of the world, where they just come out and they're like really overtuned. Now, to be fair, Fetid Devourer was just blatantly overtuned and they ended up having to nerf it, I think, before anybody could kill it. But they do make these bosses that are hard for the split rating guilds. There were a lot of examples of this in Nyalotha where they even buffed the bosses upon seeing how powerful guilds like Complexity Limit were. The Complexity Limit would pull the boss once and then they'd almost kill it, and then they'd go back to the boss and it would have 30% more health because the devs were like, we didn't mean for this to be that easy. But it was only that easy because Complexity Limit was so much more powerful than the average guild that was stepping foot into Nyalotha that early was, because of all these systems they had to power up their characters. So anything you can do to nerf them relative to average Mythic progression guilds is good, but it's never going to have the effect of stopping guild split rating. That's, I guess, the main point that I was trying to make. So it can do both of those things at the same time. Anyways, that's what's in this. That's the post about bonus rolls. One final thing here is that there's a little bit of a clarification here about what PvP is supposed to be. PvP is supposed to be 226, which is Mythic gear. Not as high as the last two bosses on Mythic, but it's equal to Mythic plus 15 Great Vault loot, and actually plus 14 as well, and equal to the most of the bosses on Mythic in the raid. So that was to be expected. Still, if you want to get those really BIS items, the 233 items, you're going to need to set foot in Mythic raid. There's no replacement for 233s from any other sources, but most of your gear is going to be 226, whether or not you do high-level PvP, high-level M+, or high-level raid. The thing is that if you only do raid, it'll be faster than if you only do PvP or only do M+. If you only do PvP, it'll be faster than if you only do M+. And if you do all three, it'll be faster than somebody who only does any one of them. So that is all the way that is intended. I think there are some reasonable arguments about players who play a lot of Mythic Plus and want to gear up a little bit faster than they currently do. I think it's reasonable for that to be a point of concern. This doesn't accomplish that, but I really do think that this is a good system of gear as far as I can tell. I like the direction of all these changes for the most part, and I'm a fan of bonus rolls going away. Again, there are some benefits of them that I hope they will roll into the Great Vault as we go forward. Anyways, that's been my thoughts on these things. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Remember to check out my Twitch stream, twitch.tv/Dratnos. Thanks everybody for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.